The evening sun poured soft gold over the stone patio, glinting off champagne glasses and glimmering tablecloths. The graduation party at my mother's country club felt like a scene from a glossy magazine. Perfect lighting, polished laughter, and an undercurrent of judgment so subtle you almost couldn't see it, like perfume in the air. My nephew Justin had just wrapped up his freshman year at Westfield University, and I'd arrived with a simple gift: a wicker basket filled with his favorite snacks and a $100 Visa gift card tucked neatly between them. It wasn't grand, but it was thoughtful. Still, I knew in this crowd, thoughtful didn't always count for much. Justin fished out the card with a grin, then suddenly looked up across the patio. "Grandma," he called out, his voice cutting through the chatter. "Aunt Claire got me a gift card." Heads turned like sunflowers. My mother paused mid-laugh, setting down her glass of champagne with deliberate grace before walking toward us. Each sharp click of her heels across the patio sounded like punctuation marks in a sentence I already knew too well. She picked up the card between two manicured fingers, squinting at it as though it were an artifact being authenticated. Her smile stretched, tight, bright, and dangerous. That particular smile, the one that always arrived a few seconds before the sting. "Oh, Claire," she said, her voice carrying easily across the party. Justin's other aunts and uncles gave him real gifts. Sarah gave him a laptop, James bought him AirPods, Thomas handed over $500 in cash. She handed the card back to Justin with a sweet shrug. "But it's nice that you tried. We all know you can't afford much on your salary." Laughter rippled around us, some polite, some cruel. Justin's smile faltered as a pink flush crept up his neck. My sister Sarah smirked outright, her amusement too large to hide. Justin shifted awkwardly, eyes darting between us. "It's fine, Aunt Claire," he mumbled, embarrassed. I didn't trust myself to speak. I stood, gathered my purse, and started walking toward the exit. "Claire, where are you going?" Mom called after me, cheerful and sharp. "You haven't even had cake yet." I kept walking, the stone crunching under my shoes. Behind me, her voice trailed off in that familiar tone of theatrical concern. She's always been so sensitive about money. I don't know where I went wrong with that one. I drove home in silence, the glow of headlights sliding past as my hands gripped the steering wheel, steady, calm, while my chest burned. At 9:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "The fall tuition payment is due August 1st. Can you handle it like usual? It's $2,800 this semester." I stared at the message for a long time, the little bubble of her words glowing like an accusation. For 3 years, ever since Justin had started at Westfield, I'd quietly paid his tuition. It had begun when my brother-in-law lost his job and money got tight. I told myself it was temporary, just until they recovered. They never did. I never stopped paying. To them, I was simply the poor younger sister who worked some vague job at the university. Something admin-ish. They never asked how I afforded it. They didn't want to know. I typed back, "Indeed, it is due." Mom replied instantly, "So you'll transfer by the end of July. They send the reminder notice if it's late." I didn't answer. Instead, I opened my laptop and logged into my other email, the one no one in my family knew about. The one tied to my real position: Westfield University Foundation, trustee, chair of Major Gifts Committee, executive director of development. They thought I worked in student services. They didn't know my signature appeared under million-dollar contracts. They didn't know that 6 years earlier, after Aunt Margaret's passing, I had donated $4.2 million to fund the Science and Technology Center, Harrison Innovation Hall, named for the aunt whose kindness had shaped me. My own family had been invited to its dedication. None of them came. They had walked past the name Harrison 100 times visiting Justin, probably assuming it honored some other Harrison, someone important. I opened the university's internal database and pulled up Justin's account. Tuition payments, 3 years running, recorded as private family fund scholarship. The structure had been deliberate, a way to help without showing my hand. Justin never saw my name. The money simply appeared, semester after semester. I composed a new email to Patricia Ward, Director of Student Financial Services. Subject: Private Family Fund. Scholarship status: Change Patricia. Please be advised that the private family fund scholarship for student Justin Morrison will not be renewed for the fall semester. All future payments from this fund are suspended, effective immediately. Please process the change and send the standard notification to the family. Best regards. Claire Harrison, Executive Director of Development. I hit send before I could hesitate. An hour later, Patricia confirmed completion. The system had automatically sent the family an official notice. The scholarship was canceled. The tuition balance, $20,500, was now due in full. My phone started ringing at sunrise, 4:47 a.m. Mom, voicemail 7:02, again. Ignored, 7:15, again. Then a text. Claire, call me immediately. There's a problem with Justin's tuition. I let silence answer for me. By 8:05, my office line rang. Jennifer, my assistant, buzzed me. Claire, your mother's on hold. She says it's urgent. Something about a student account. I told her you handle development, not financial services, but she insists. Tell her I'm in meetings all morning, I said. She'll need to contact student financial services directly. She did already, Jennifer said gently. They told her the decision came from your office. I paused, closing my eyes. Patricia must have listed me as the source. Tell her I'll call her back when I'm available, I said carefully. By mid-morning, I'd sat through a meeting with President Morrison, no relation, about the library expansion. We should honor our top anonymous donors this fall, he said brightly. That Harrison gift, $4.2 million, truly transformed this campus. The building dedication was sufficient, I said, keeping my voice even. Still, he continued, we're considering a Harrison Scholars Program, full rides for STEM students. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I nodded politely. He had no idea that the Harrison sitting across from him funded the very idea he wanted to celebrate. When I returned to my office, there were 17 missed calls. Mom, Sarah, Thomas, Dave. I answered none. At 2:00 p.m., Jennifer's voice came softly through the intercom again. Claire, your mother's downstairs. She doesn't have an appointment. Security's asking if they should, intervene. I exhaled. Send her up. 3 minutes later, Mom appeared in my doorway. Her face was flushed from both fury and effort, her expensive bag clutched like a trophy from a conquered war. What is going on? She demanded before I could even stand. Justin's scholarship was canceled. They said he owes $28,500 by August 1st, or he can't register for classes. The financial office says the decision came from your department, but that can't be right. You don't work in financial aid. Sit down, Mom, I said evenly. I don't want to sit down, she snapped. I want to know why you're involved. Did you make a mistake processing something? Delete the wrong file? No, Mom, I didn't make a mistake. I met her eyes steady. The scholarship was ended because I decided to end it. She blinked, thrown off balance. You decided? Claire, you don't have that kind of authority. You work in administration. You don't make financial aid decisions. I sighed quietly. I don't work in administration, I said at last. I work in development. I'm the executive director. I manage every major gift and donor fund this university receives. Her mouth fell open, then closed again. That can't be your title. You would have told us. Why would I tell you? You've never asked about my job. Not once in 12 years. But she looked around my office, seeing it properly for the first time. The large window overlooking campus, the diplomas on the wall, including the fade I'd earned part-time, the photos with university presidents and state governors. I don't understand. The scholarship Justin's been receiving for 3 years was from a private fund, my private fund. I've been paying his tuition the entire time, not helping out, paying it fully through a foundation I established. Mom sat down slowly in the chair across from my desk. You've been paying, but you said you'd help us temporarily. You made it sound like you were scraping together money too. To what? To help my family who thinks I can't afford real gifts. She flinched. You stood in front of 30 people yesterday and told everyone that I'm too poor to give my nephew a proper graduation present. You spent years telling people I'm the struggling one, the disappointment, the sister who never amounted to much. Meanwhile, I've been paying $28,500 per semester for your grants and to attend the university where I work. Claire, I didn't know. You didn't ask. None of you asked. You just assumed. She looked down at her hands. The scholarship can't just disappear. Justin needs that money. Dave still hasn't found steady work. and we can't cover $2,850 in 3 weeks. Then Justin will need to take out loans or transfer to a less expensive school or take a semester off to work. You can't do this to him. He's your nephew. He's my nephew who watched his grandmother mock my gift yesterday and said nothing, who accepted a laptop and AirPods and $500 cash from everyone else and looked at my $100 gift card like it was an insult. He's 19 years old enough to learn that actions have consequences. Mom stood up, her purse clutched against her chest. I'm calling the president of this university. I'll tell him you're abusing your position to punish your family. President Morrison and I meet weekly. Feel free to call him. He'll tell you that all scholarship decisions from private funds are at the discretion of the donor. That's me. She stared at me and I watched her realize that I wasn't bluffing, that I actually had the authority I was claiming. When did you become so cold? She asked quietly. Around the same time, my family decided I was a failure while I was paying for their lives. She left without another word. The family group chat erupted over the next 48 hours. I'd been removed from it at some point, probably after Mom's visit. But my sister Sarah called to tell me everything that was being said. They're panicking, Sarah said, her voice softer than I'd heard in years. Mom told everyone what you do, about the scholarship, about your position. Thomas looked up your name and found you listed as a trustee. Dave found an article about a major donation to the Science Center from the Harrison Foundation. Here lies, that's Aunt Margaret's name. Good for Dave. Claire, they're talking about taking out loans. Justin might have to leave Westfield. There are plenty of good state schools. Are you really going to do this? You laughed yesterday, Sarah. When Mom said I couldn't afford real gifts, you actually laughed. Silence on the other end. I spent 3 years paying for Justin's education. I continued. I've donated millions to this university. I sit on the board. My aunt's name is on a building. And you all thought I was some low-level administrator who could barely scrape together gas money. We didn't know because you never asked. Because it was easier to believe I was failing than to acknowledge I might have succeeded. Sarah was quiet for a moment. What would it take for you to reinstate the scholarship? An apology might be a start from Mom. From everyone who smirked yesterday when she said I couldn't afford real gifts. Claire, I'm not asking for grilling, Sarah. I'm asking for basic acknowledgement that you all treated me like garbage while I was funding your children's futures. She hung up without responding. 3 days later, I received an email at my university address. Dear Aunt Claire, my dad told me that you've been paying for me college this whole time. I didn't know. I thought it was financial aid or scholarships I'd earned. I'm sorry I didn't thank you. I'm sorry about what Grandma said at the party. I should have said something. I don't know if this will change anything, but I wanted you to know that I'm grateful. Even if I have to leave Westfield, I'm grateful for the 2 years you gave me here. They changed my life. Thank you, Justin. I read the email 3 times. Then I picked up my phone and called Patrician Financial Services. Patricia, it's Claire. That private family fund scholarship for Justin Morrison. Let's reinstate it. Full tuition for the fall semester. Are you sure? I'm sure. But you want the scholarship letter sent to Justin directly this time, not his parents. And I wanted to list the donor name. The Harrison Foundation? No, Claire Harrison, my full name. I want them to know exactly who's paying for his education. I'll process it today. After I hung up, I opened my email and replied to Justin. Justin, your scholarship has been reinstated. You'll receive confirmation from Financial Services tomorrow. But I need you to understand something. This isn't charity. This is an investment in someone I believe has potential. Don't waste it. And Justin, next time someone in our family says something cruel about someone else, speak up. Silence is complicity. Aunt Claire. I hit send and closed my laptop. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Mom wants to apologize. Can she call you? It typed back. She can email. I'm not ready for phone calls. Some bridges take time to rebuild. Some lessons cost $2,850 a semester. And some families need to learn that the person they've been underestimating is the one who's been holding them up all along. The Harrison Innovation Hall gleamed in the afternoon sun outside my office window. Aunt Margaret would have appreciated the irony that her name lived on at university where her niece worked, while her niece's own family had no idea of the impact she'd made. Maybe someday I'd tell them about the other donations, about the scholarship program we were planning, about the endowed chair in the engineering department. But for now, they could start by understanding that gift cards and grace come from the same person, and that person had been keeping them afloat longer than they'd ever known.